hope you all had a wonderful weekend. So, this is the new Jane Journal themed kit. I said that kind of weird. The Jane Austen themed journaling kit that I said I would do a preview on. And this kit you'll see is very similar to the vintage junk journal kit. The main differences are going to be in the papers as far as the design papers. They're going to be all Jane Austen themed, and then some of the 12 by 12 cardstock might even be the same, but it's all coordinated to go more towards a Jane Austen themed kit. And what I'm showing you now are just a lot of the journaling cards that come in the kit. So you're going to see a guest check, a library card, index card, some journaling cards, actual cards with envelopes. And after I show this preview, I'm going to do a nice little project for all of you guys. I always try to do a project, and I thought I would create a tag using some of the items from this kit. I did use some additional items, but it was mainly just some stamps and a few scraps of trim and those sort of things. So I will be showing that project after I show the preview of this kit, so be sure to stay tuned for that. Okay, so as you can see, we've got lots of tags and some papers and paper doilies. My mom, when she creates these kits, okay, well, try that again. I was going to say, my mom, when she creates all of these kits, she really puts a lot of thought into making sure there's all these different elements to it that will allow you to get a good start on completing an entire journal with it. And there's probably enough items here to create more than one journal. As I showed in my previous videos with the vintage junk journal kit, and I did that series, I still had probably, oh my gosh, well, I hardly used any of the 12 by 12 papers, so I had like 8 sheets of that left and probably half of the other items in the kit left. So you really do get a lot in the kits. And again, if you weren't able to get one of the vintage junk journal kits, this kit is very similar, as you can see. So this is your big chance here to get a kit. I have half of them pretty much spoken for, already sold, so don't wait on these. Make sure if you want one, grab one. They're priced really affordably considering the amount of items that you get in the kit. There are 10 12 by 12 papers. I think there's like 25 of the laser printed design theme papers, and then you get all the additional items which I'm showing here, such as this little bag of goodies filled with little bits of trim, pearls. You have all these cute little buttons. You have the wooden buttons, postage stamp, heart buttons, rhinestone buttons, a little looks like a little metal locket, and then a cameo. And then you get the fabric, the vintage fabric. You get all those things that I showed you in the pocket envelope, all those tags, the library card, guest check, all of the journaling cards, and the cards with envelopes. You get sheet music. You get some old vintage book pages. I mean, it's a lot. And for the price, it's a steal, really. And I'm not even sure my mom really gets paid for the time that she puts in building these kits. But she loves it. She loves to create these kits, and So it's something that she loves to do, and hopefully it will allow my mom to retire. Yeah. So she can make even more kits for me. Yeah, Mom, if you're watching this. Oh, yes. So I'm so thrilled and I feel so blessed that I get to work with my mom as much as I do. I reside in Arizona. I'm not sure if a lot of you know this, but I do reside in Arizona, and then I fly up to Montana. I try to at least once a month. If not, it's, every probably 4 or 6 weeks. So I can go spend time with my mom and my boys. And yeah, it's something I just feel truly blessed that I'm able to do. So, and then I get to share it with all of you guys. These are some of the old book pages, and if you look at the titles of them, they go perfectly with the Jane journal theme. And then here, oh, my mom's vanilla coffee stained papers. If you guys could just smell these, they just smell so yummy because they're vanilla scented. Oh, they're wonderful. And you get 5 of those. And then here's some, I think it's vellum paper. And then we have all sorts of ledger papers, graph paper, all those things that work wonderfully if you just distress them up a little bit, stamp them, you can emboss over them. There's so much you can do, and then you just leave space for journaling, of course, but it gives that added interest to your journals when you have all these different types of papers in them. And then here we have some of the sheet music. And as you can see, I know you guys are probably like, oh my god, this is exactly like the vintage junk journals, but just wait, because pretty soon when I show the papers, you'll see all of the Jane journal themed papers that you'll be getting in this kit, and that's how this really varies from the vintage junk journal kit. So here we have some envelopes. And then you get some lined papers. And this is from my digital lined paper collection, what I'm showing you there. And then some journaling cards. These are all from, this was like one of the first collections, one of my older collections I did. It's Simply Jane. And then these are just some images my mom must have thrown in there. And this is from the Simply Jane collection as well, these tags. I want to go back and do some of my first collections that I did. Oh my gosh. I look back at them and I think, they just need, for me, I just see all these things I would like to just, now that I know how to use filters more, and just at the use of Photoshop and how my skill level is just much more advanced than what it was back in the day when I first started doing all of this. But yeah, I don't know, if time permits, I'll probably do it. Just time. I need more time. Okay, these are more images my mom just threw in there. And again, these are all done on laser. My mom and I both have the same laser printers. It's the HP LaserJet Pro, and it's the older model, the M251NW model. And I think you can still get one on Amazon, but they're getting pricey. I would still grab one though, even if it's still around $400. I think it was down to 200 and some, and now it's up to $400 for one. But in the long run, it's so worth it. My mom and I, we both love our printers, and we've had them for, I would say, around 4 or 5 years now, and mine still works like brand new. I bought a backup one. It was a newer model one, and I haven't even used it. Now my newer model one is even becoming an older model one. I don't know when I'll ever use it because my printer still runs great. I just thought with all the printing I did, I'd wear it out really fast, but I can't say enough good things about that printer. It's a wonderful printer. Okay, so getting to the end of all of the Jane themed laser prints, and again, I believe there's 25 that you would get in this kit, so you get a lot. And then she put in, it looks like a coloring page from, must be some book that she must have had one around that was a Jane Austen themed coloring book. So you'll get a coloring page with it, and that was not in the vintage junk journal kit. So there's a few little additional items that you get with this kit. Just kind of fun. You can play and color and then incorporate it into your journal. And then a couple of the cabinet card scans. And then here we have the paper baggies. And last, some of the 12 by 12 papers. Now in these papers, you'll get the stitched papers like in the vintage junk journal kit I was talking about. These are wonderful papers. They're very durable, like almost fabric like paper texture to them, and they're all stitched. And these specialty papers, these are from Prima. I think they retailed for around $3.50, maybe more per sheet. So again, you're getting really a wonderful deal with this kit as far as the price goes and everything that you get in it. And I think most of these are Prima papers. So yeah, I really don't know what to say. These are the 12 by 12 cardstock papers. But yeah, they're beautiful papers. As you can see, Prima makes wonderful papers. They're a nice, heavier texture, or I meant to say they're a nice heavy weight, and so they work really good for creating the base of your signature page. They're just beautiful, and they're double-sided. I think almost all of them are double-sided, except for the foiled one was the only one that wasn't. So yeah, you get 10 sheets of 12 by 12 papers, and again, I think there's around 25 sheets of the laser Jane Austen themed papers. So right there, like 35 sheets of paper. It's a lot. And then you get everything that came in the pocket envelope as far as tags and index card, library card, all those things. Cards with envelopes, some doilies. You get the graph paper, ledger papers, sheet music. As I said before, it's just jam-packed, full of things. And that's my mom for you. That is my mom. She loves to it's overdue. You hardly ever underdo. It's always overdue. And I think that's where I got it from, is like when I create things, I always tend to overdo things maybe a little bit. Like I might get carried away sometimes with detail or just not knowing when to stop. But yeah, I really put her heart and soul into this. My mom loves what she does. I love doing this with you guys as well, as far as the kits and then creating the projects. And It's just a lot of fun. And again, I will be showing you guys how to create a tag using a lot of the elements from this kit. So don't leave. After I get done showing the preview of this kit, be sure to stay tuned and I will show you how to create a beautiful Jane Austen themed tag. And I like to think that I'm, giving you guys new ideas, so it's not just a tag. At least I hope you don't see it as that way. All right, guys, here's the kit. And again, don't wait. Like I said, half of them are already sold, so if you want one, be sure to get one. Okay, so in creating this tag, what I thought I would use, at least some of the elements that I decided to use from the kit, is the petal envelope, and then some of the additional items that I'm using are the lined paper and the receipts, and I think that's it. And this tablet along with the receipt book I got at the dollar store. So yeah, $2. And then I'm using one of the guest checks and then one of the papers and the extra large tag. So to start off with, I'm going to take this paper and just apply a strip of adhesive to the top of the paper. And then I'm going to want to cut the extra length of the paper so it's the same size. And now what I'm going to do is just figure out what I want to put on top of my tag. And so I'm thinking I might use the receipts, and I have the carbon copy and the top portion of the receipt. I'm not sure if I'm going to use them both at this point. And then I'm taking the flap of the envelope there and thinking I might be able to incorporate that somehow also. Now, what you see me doing here is I'm going to take the lined paper, cut it in half, and then get my embossing powders and do a little stamping and embossing. So I'm using one of the new stamps from Caribou. I will be carrying this in my store. I did get more of some of my stamps that I had out of stock back in stock. So if you were wanting any of my stamp designs, they are back in stock. These that you'll see here, I will have these on pre-order because I want to make sure I order enough of them. So if you do want this stamp, be sure to order it so I order enough of them. It's a beautiful stamp. I love it because it's that doily image there and it just works perfectly for this project. So what I did is I used the VersaFine in the turquoise color, and then I'm using some of the Distress, I think it's a turquoise embossing powder that I put over it, and then I'm going to take some of the yellow, but because I didn't clean my stamp good enough, I contaminated my stamp pad and I ended up with more of a yellow-green color. But it ended up being okay because after I put the green embossing powder over it, you couldn't even tell. And now I'm just trying to get some of that turquoise color off my yellow ink pad, is what you're seeing me do there. I'm just taking a stamp and rubbing it over to clean it up, get all that turquoise off of there. And then I'm just stamping on the other side of the paper. I might use this later on, not sure, but I didn't want to waste the ink. So now I'm taking the green embossing powder and going over that, and then after this I'm going to stamp one more in the teal blue and then heat set it. Now I'm taking some of the plum color in the archival ink and just stamping this confidential sentiment on there. And you could use any office stamp or stamp of your choice. And then I'm going to take one of my coffee stain stencils and just add a few little coffee stain marks on there and then distress around the edge just to tie it all together. And this way I can journal on the back side, and then the front side I have a nice decorative look to my page as opposed to it just being some lined paper. And then I'm going to roll it up and then tie it, and I want the confidential to be visible, so I decide that I am going to stamp one more at the top of the page. And then I'm going to take some of this pink trim and just tie it around. And then I'll probably attach it somehow, some way to the flap of the envelope. So now I'm going to take and stamp using that same doily stamp and just do a few little stamped images of that doily onto that pink piece of paper. Again, I want to keep in mind my journaling space, so I'm just going to do a little at the bottom corner, and then just to kind of balance it, do another little section up near the top left section of the paper. And then again I'm going to apply the embossing powder and heat set it, and I believe I'm using the green. So yeah, I'm just gonna put on the embossing powder. Sometimes when I do these voiceovers, I feel kind of silly. It's like, and now I'm getting rid of the excess powder. And now I'm going to pour the powder back into the jar. I don't know if it's, this, like when there's too much silence, it seems kind of weird. Or sometimes that's why I just put music on and then I don't have to worry about it. But yeah. Alright, so you guys know that it's, 1, 2 in the morning when I do these videos, so I tend to get just a little on the goofy side after, when it starts hitting around 3, the giggles start coming. Alright, so I took another one of the stamps and I thought the 15 cents on the receipt would look kind of cool. And now I'm just trying to size everything up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my coffee stain stencil and just kind of make it look like it's got some coffee stains on there, and then distress the edges of the receipt. And I also want to distress the edges of my larger tag. This is being done using the vintage photo in the distress oxide. Just want to really give it more of a vintage look. And then after I do this, I'm going to take and apply a small strip of glue to the flap of the receipt and glue that to the back. So when I flip it, I still can have access to the pink paper and do journaling there, and then I also will have journaling space on the receipt. And then I'm going to want to cut the receipt down to the size of the tag, and I'm going to take that end piece there and apply it up above the receipt. And I'm just figuring out how I'm going to adhere everything together here. And then I'm going to fussy cut the lady from the envelope. And when I go to glue her down onto the pink paper section of the tag, I only want to apply glue on that edge going halfway up. I don't want to glue it all the way down. So you can see I'm only going halfway up there and then gluing the bottom section. I want it so I can still take that receipt and flip it around. So I don't want to glue the section up near her head. I don't want to glue that part down. And now I'm going to create another little flap and glue down the other side of that receipt. And I'm gluing it to the back side of the pink paper. Okay, so now I'm going to take some of my scrap pieces of lace and just embellish her dress a little bit with it. So right at the collar and at the shoulder there. And then I'm going to take the wooden butterfly button and put that in her hair. I thought that would look kind of cute there. And the paper doily, I decided to adhere that to the back of that receipt. So I just apply a dot of glue and adhere it to the back of the receipt. So I can still access the pink paper for journaling. Now I'm going to take my scraps of lace and I just want to create a decorative paper clip of some sort. So I'm just figuring out how I want to put my little scraps of lace together, and I'll probably finish it off with a button and then just glue everything down onto a paper clip. So I decided to take some chain and I cut it with my Tim Holtz scissors, and I just thought it would again just give it a little more embellishment there. And it's a great way. I love using my broken chain. I got a big lot of it from eBay a while back ago, and I have not seen one like it since. And oh my god, I've got tons of broken chain to use up. So yeah, I always try to find ways to implement it somehow, some way. Okay, so now I'm just kind of playing around, figuring out how I want to finish this up, and I'm back to this flap. I thought a feather would be really cute. I just happened to find this magenta polka dotted feather in my baggie of scraps that I pulled out, and so I'm going to use that, and I'm just going to take and apply some scrap pieces of lace, trim, and glue everything down onto that flap there. Now, one thing I had to keep in mind is my scroll paper there, how I was going to attach it to the flap, because I couldn't put glue down on the back side of it, then I wouldn't be able to open the paper up, and that defeated the whole purpose of having that extra journaling space. So what I end up doing is taking a scrap piece of lace and I tucked it underneath the pink string, and this allowed me to adhere it to that flap and still be able to unroll the paper and use that as journaling space, and I'll show you how I did that here in just a second. So now what you see me doing, or or not see me doing because I don't have it in the camera. Okay, well, what I'm doing is I am taking some of my scrap pieces of trim, lace, gathering it to create the decorative element to the top part of my tag, and I'm going to attach those scraps that I gathered to a paper clip. I had this little zipper beaded thing and I just couldn't make it work, so yeah, I just figuring out how I want to finish off that top section there. So this is where, see, I didn't get it in the camera, and that's what I was afraid of, where I took that piece of lace, and that's what I'm doing, is I'm tucking it under the pink string. So I'm hoping you'll catch a glimpse of what I did. There it is. I tucked it under that string, and now I'm just going to apply glue only to the lace, not to any part of the paper, because I want to be able to pull that paper out and use that for journaling space. I'm just attaching the lace down. And now I'm just going back to the top of my tag there and going to glue down all the trim that I'm going to use there, and take the pieces of trims and laces that I gathered and attach it to this paper clip. If you ever have paper clips that you don't like this one, I've had a stash. I got them dirt cheap like years ago, and I'm so glad I hold on to some of this stuff because now it really comes in handy. I mean, there's things that you don't think you're going to use, and then somebody comes up with a brilliant idea, or you see something and yeah, you end up using all those safety pins and paper clips and in ways that you didn't think to use before. So now I have my decorative element to the top part of my tag, and we're almost done here. I hope you guys are really getting lots of ideas from this. What I'm doing there real quick is I'm just changing out the button, and then I think I'm going to call it pretty much done. And I hope you guys enjoyed this little project. I wanted to be able to do 2 tags, but I was running out of time. I've just had a crazy week. And if you guys have seen my Facebook page, I decided to post updates and news to my Facebook page, so you can always check that out to catch the latest news of what's going on in Dreams ETC world. I just thought I have so much going on, and if you guys just ever want to know what's going on, you can check out my Facebook page, and I'm gonna try to get in the habit of posting updates on my Facebook page. So if you ever have any questions about anything, you can always check there and see what's going on. So I decided to take this little piece of scrap fabric, and I'm just attaching it to the back of the paper doily. And then I'm going to take my diamond wrap and cut little pieces of it just to add little bits of bling here and there. So you can see it's a very usable tag. I have my little envelope flap with my scroll paper as journaling space, and then I have the back sections of my receipt flaps there as journaling space, and my pink paper also as journaling space. So it's a tag with lots of journaling space. And here I'm just adding in the little bits of bling, and then I'm going to call this done. So if you all enjoyed this project, please be sure to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment below, let me know you want more. These tags were so much fun. I wanted to do more than one. I had planned on doing 2. I just ran out of time. But again, I'd love to do more. You all just need to let me know. So yeah, I think I add one more little bit of bling to the wooden butterfly there, and then it is done. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for the amazing support, and thank you so much for watching.